All right, Cardinal fans, welcome back to the Red Rain podcast on a Victory Tuesday. This is episode 191, and please welcome in your host, Walter Mitchell.
Thank you, Kyle Little Rock Ledbetter, sporting his Milwaukee Brewers hat. Cardinals are brewing up quite a mix of great plays yesterday. We're going to go right through a lot of them and showcase those plays because Cardinals were showcasing an array of talents on both sides of the ball, on all three phases, actually, save for the punt block. Wow, what a team effort, team win. We so needed this, and I'm just so impressed with the way they handled things this week, just despite some, annoying distractions. We'll talk about that at some point, but it's a Victory Tuesday. How often, as a Cardinals fan, do we get to say that? And with a big, huge NFC West game coming up on Sunday, couple of huge ones. I mean, the Niners and Rams are squaring off, and our Cardinals have got to get this 400-pound gorilla off their back in Seattle somehow, some way. But we got some momentum going into this because this was a stunning signature win, and in a really outstanding number of ways. So we're going to just go right down a list of plays, and I didn't put them in any chronological order. I just wanted to jump right in there and do a quick analysis of these highlights. So Kyle's going to cue up the first one, and how about Walter Nolan? Oh my goodness. I think he's first up.
Yes.
Okay. So here we are. Oh, this was huge. I think this was the play of the game, in my opinion.
So we're in the fourth quarter here, 1st and 10. Nolan comes rushing up the middle, wraps up Dak for the big time sack. Have a day, young fella. Great job for your first NFL sack at this point.
Correct. And the timing of this is so critical. I mean, at this point, it looked like the Cowboys were going to do with the Packers and the Colts, and momentum was swinging back heavily in their favor. And what Nolan did was break the ice on what has been a cold, icy, fruitless games of fourth quarter pass rushes for the Cardinals since Calais Campbell closed out week 2 against the suddenly surging Panthers, and ended that game. We've needed this pass rush big time, and I think he and Josh Sweat in particular, especially on the goal line stand early in the game, the big plays that they made and in conjunction with one another was a huge turning point early in the game, and then right here to sack Dak in this situation and get the Cowboys moving backwards was just great timing. And look at the swim move. Whoop! Look how he turned off of Smith's pads with his outside arm. Boom! That's textbook, folks. That is textbook. And he's got his amazing low center of gravity to where, and he springs. He's got springs when he, can swim over the top. And, because if you notice, Dak could have had a big running alley there, but Walter closed it down. So,
and to your point about the wrap, there was one earlier where I think Sweat got a free rush, or I think it was Zaven. Zaven got a free rush at the quarterback, and they didn't bring him down. And then Dak extended the play.
exactly.
And I don't think they got hurt on that play, but it was one of those where it was just like, oh, they were right there. They could have
so close. But we needed someone to break the ice. And once that happened, I mean, notice our whole pass rush was galvanized. And it was the best fourth quarter pass rush we've seen all season long. And it was key in keeping the Cowboys from scoring another touchdown. So, and then the other big play. So let's keep going. What's up?
Next up, we are going to have a nice little play from Cody Simon.
Oh, God, I love this.
This is right after the Nolan sack as well. Yeah. 3rd down and 12.
Right. A check down pass on 3rd and 12. Credit the pass rush for that. And Cody Simon coming in with a huge strip. To have the presence of mind as a rookie to do that right in that spot. And as we watch the play again, pause. I mean, Will Johnson coming up with a huge stop here and tackle him down near his legs, which enables him to stand up the running back here, which then gives Simon the chance to come over and make this strip as the ball's coming towards the ground. Look at him yank. Pulled it out. Now, pause right here. Get an arrow on ADG, Akeem Davis Gaither. This is a really savvy play on his part because he had already gone out of bounds. Brian Baldinger did a great little clip on this. But what you have to do is reestablish yourself in the playing field before you can touch the ball. And this is exactly what ADG does. It's textbook. Look at that ball right on the turf there. Of course, you have Buddha coming up for it. You got JT sniffing it. And, you know,
got 3 Cardinals at the ball there.
That turnover was so huge. I mean, we haven't had fourth quarter turnovers either. So we're getting sacks, we're getting turnovers, and ones that the Cardinals force themselves, you know, and we're getting this from rookies, which, you know, down the stretch, you know, cue Denzel Burke, he's coming up, and others. But Cody Simon filling in for a dinged up Mac Wilson Sr., who was having a really good game. Mac was all over the place making plays. He took a rib shot, something fierce on a double team block. And you could see, oh my gosh, he got his rib cage, you know, whacked. And hopefully he's going to be okay. And but it's good to know we have the depth in Cody Simon. I think Cody Simon is a guy you want to give reps to and help develop him. But you know, Akeem Davis Gaither has also been a step-up guy for our defense, and he makes a great play there to finish it off.
Yeah, just breaking up the order a little bit. You just mentioned the Denzel Burke play right here. So you've got Dak rolling out, taking a chuck, Burke with the interception to seal the game.
Yeah, Burke ended up tied for lead of tackles and had the most pass breakups with 2 and an interception. I mean, what a great set of plays he made down the stretch. Go to his pass breakup on the pass to CeeDee Lamb on a 4th down. I mean, Burke played it so perfectly. I mean, he kept the kind of cushion that would enable him to then make a break on the ball. That's his game, by the way, at Ohio State. Really good zone corner who's best when he can play over the top. And look at that. Perfectly timed. I mean, huge 4th down stop. Look at Sweaty. making an impact on this play, on this throw. I mean, Josh Sweat was a man possessed last night.
This play here against a wide receiver too, who knows to come back to the ball and knows how to make those contested catches with CeeDee Lamb going up there. That's a terrific play.
Yeah. And Will Johnson earlier in that quarter or in the second half made a great play from behind on Lamb as well. And the announcer, Troy Aikman, pointed out, Lamb's got to come back for those balls, and he didn't. So I don't know where his head was, but he just waited on both balls, and Will Johnson came from behind and knocked the ball out in an earlier situation, and now you've got Denzel Burke timing that up just perfectly. Wow. And so there's another rookie making huge plays down the stretch.
One more we got here. How about Calais Campbell, the veteran, the oldest defensive player in the league, along with the rookies, coming through with the sack down the stretch.
And that's, pass rushing becomes contagious when when one guy's lighting it up, and we had two guys lighting it up. Now, Calais doesn't get double teamed. And look at the swim move he makes back to the football on Steele, the right tackle. Perfectly played, too, on this. Notice how he has, at first, his outside shoulder free, and he's got contain on this play. He's rushing from the edge. So, but then he shifts over when he sees that Dak's going to step into the pocket, does a swim move right into Dak and cleans him up. This, from a textbook standpoint and technical standpoint, this is an A+, because he's already favoring contain. He doesn't want Dak to get outside of him, so he keeps his outside. Let's show it again. Notice his outside shoulder free, and then he swims inside to finish off the play. Absolutely, look at the outside shoulder free, and now when he sees Dak, perfect vision to Dak is going to step in. He turns and finishes off the play with a textbook tackle and takes him down on the side so they can't call him for the kind of, throw your weight on a quarterback sack that can get you 15 yards. Just awesome.
Yeah. So
gotta love Calais. Also, during the week, Calais said, I don't want to be traded. And I had a feeling he was going to say that. And then when it came out that he was, they announced he had an illness on Sunday, I was like, uh-oh, are they going to really trade him? But not now. I mean, the Cardinals are, that they made a statement in this game, and they're coming. This is and what's really cool about what the Cardinals are doing is they're forging a sort of new identity on offense with Jacoby's ladder, as I'm calling it. I mean, the ladder to the promised land for the Cardinals. I mean, these last 3 weeks, Jacoby has outpassed, okay, let's get this straight, Daniel Jones. He outpassed Jordan Love. And in this game, he outpassed Dak Prescott. And then there's a stat. Go to the stat that I put at the bottom of, this is the first time since Kurt Warner. I mean, look at this graphic that I attached to I put at the bottom of the list of plays.
Yep.
You got it.
Let me bring it in for people here so they can see.
Read that out, my man.
In 3 starts with the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett has completed 65% of his passes, thrown for 850 plus yards, thrown for 6+ touchdown passes, and rushed for a touchdown. The only other NFL quarterback to do that over his first 3 starts with a team, Kurt Warner with the Rams in 1999.
I'm going to dance like it's 1999. Right,
And
I mean, this is just incredibly awesome stuff by Jacoby Brissett, and it's so encouraging. Jacoby Brissett hasn't just galvanized the offense. He's settled down this whole team. I really believe that. I think he's given the Cardinals a great boost. In just overall feel good, kind of approach to what they're doing right now, which is what the coaches always wanted. They wanted to feel good. But Jacoby's bringing that leadership and the humbleness. If you saw him after the game with Lisa Matthews, in the interviews, the ESPN interview.
Oh, Lisa Salters.
I mean, yes, exactly. And I love her. She's amazing. It was all about team. He just wouldn't talk about himself. I mean, Geno Smith has been like that since his revival. It's so refreshing. It's just, this was a team effort. Really proud of the guys, and it's a very sort of ho-hum, has an equilibrium to it that feels like it can be sustained. And so here's a play that we have not seen for a while with a Cardinals quarterback. Let's go to the Michael Wilson hole shot. I mean, so we come out, we get the ball first in the second half. How huge was it to start off the second half like this on like a 2nd and 9?
Oh, this is the first play, 1st and 10.
Or 1st and 10, rather. It's 1st and 10.
Yeah, Michael Wilson.
First play. And this guy, did you see Michael Wilson's first down catch and run rack to get a first down in the first half? He's become a 3rd down conversion guy, the way Anquan Bolden was for us for so long. And look at this hole shot. Look at the rope. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Also, we're getting a key block there from the running back.
I think Bam on this play.
Yep. Key block.
You even got a block from Dortch there. Dortch throwing the pass rusher off by just taking the quick block on that play too.
Yeah.
Because that pass rusher's coming right up the gut on Brissett.
There it is. Paris. It's Paris. And a key block, key double team with Frohl and Bam. That's great protection. And this just in, gang. I mean, let me finish with Wilson. I mean, look at the rope. Okay? That is something we have not seen in recent years enough of. And at times, never at all. And there was a clear throwing, look at the clear throwing lane. I mean, he had clear vision of this. And look at notice how he throws it, bang, right on the timing of Wilson's cut, which is perfect. The perfect thing you want to do on a hole shot is rip it on the break. And at this time, the linebackers can't affect it because they're split too far apart. And look at how Wilson gathers that in stride and just takes off.
beats the safety who's trying to come down and make
He
a play
does.
there.
I would have liked to have seen Marv get around in time to make more of a leverage block on his man, but I think Marv was probably as surprised as some of us were, because that's not a play we've seen too often. And Jacoby has made that play several times. Once to Marv in a huge the game that they almost came back to beat the Packers on. He had a huge hole shot in that last drive that got us toward midfield, and then Carter down to the 26 and everything. But man, it's really exciting to see, and it's exciting to see that we're playing complementary football. That while Marv got his 10 targets, and they came out and concertedly got him the ball, and that was huge. And Marv had such a big day. Let's show the Marv touchdown with Allen Iverson at 6'4".
Breaking ankles out
I
here.
mean, oh man,
this is crazy. Whoop! Down you go.
Now, I'd be surprised if any team leaves the middle open like that on Marv ever again. Because you cannot expect, Durant Brand to be able to cover the fade and the quick slant. Boom.
Yeah, we were joking about this on the radio show yesterday, previewing the game. I said if Bland is going to be covering Harrison, it's going to be either like 3 pick sixes or he's just going to get burned. And then he actually did get burned in a way that was comedically funny, watching him slip and fall down. I mean, Marvin took his lunch money all game.
He was their one corner with really good grades, but traditionally they played him more in the slot. But I think that with Diggs out, they're running out of answers. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers. I think they're ranked like 30th in pass coverage, 31st in pass yards allowed.
Right.
Like, I mean, they didn't have a lot of options, so they just threw what they could at him. But they did just trade for Logan Wilson, so maybe that'll turn the tides for him. A rental linebacker turning the tides on a
I always liked Logan Wilson, and and so, but as Troy Aikman said, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys. They have their own issues. I just want to stick with the Cardinals. But yeah, I mean, this is just so sweet, and the timing of it is so sweet, given probably a good time for me to address this. I was absolutely irate at Josh Weinfuss and ESPN for posting that interview with Marvin Harrison Sr., which, by the way, any coach knows when parents get involved, it's never a good thing. Unless it's private and a parent pulls a coach aside and says, look, I don't mean to be a pain, but here are my thoughts. And just as an FYI, but to go public on the one day the Cardinals are playing in prime time on Monday Night Football, I thought was so reprehensible and so classless. I mean, and now all the fans are going, it worked. I'm sorry. I mean, first of all, let me go back a couple games. That Colts game could have been this kind of a game for Marvin Harrison Jr. But what happened in the Colts game? Do you remember? On his second catch, and they came out throwing to him early, and he looked good. Although he did, I think drop one, but he made the catch on the third target. He already had a really good catch on another target. So they were targeting him early. He got concussed. and was out of the game. And he was really pissed because he knew he had a big game coming, had it in him, but he was ruled out with the concussion protocol quite naturally. And then the next game against the Packers, he's just trying to come back from that. That's coming back from a concussion, is hard mentally and physically. And he had that drop over the middle. And I mean, they were trying to get on the ball. It wasn't like Jacoby's ignoring Marvin. And Jacoby has developed a very strong rapport with the young man. And it showed again last night. But this is something that could have happened a couple games ago. And for Marvin Harrison Sr. to not see the direction the offense has taken over the last couple weeks, and to drop this bomb on the Cardinals right there, I thought was classless of him. And he's the guy in charge over there. He was the one who had Marvin sitting out of all the drills. He's like calculated this whole thing. I mean, I got to be honest. I think in a year's time, the father's going to be asking for $50 million a year, and it could be a Kyler situation all over again. And that worries me. I don't think Marvin himself would do that, and I think Marvin is very different from his dad. I think Marvin is, he's a different kind of player, and I think Marvin gets the team thing a little bit more. I mean, clearly over the last 3 weeks, the Cardinals have made concerted efforts to ramp up their passing attack. And that included Marvin. But he was out for, 3/4 of the Colts game. And then came back against the Packers and had a pretty good game. He still wound up between those two games with 80 yards and in more limited, catches, obviously, but there were contexts there. And so that was so regrettable. And the thing that is really stinging as well, and that I thought, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman sounded like they really didn't want to, talk about this and read about it and cite Josh Weinfuss as this, day of the game breaking news story about Marvin Harrison Sr. I think they felt very awkward and uncomfortable talking about it. And I think they were relieved that at the point in which they did talk about it, Marvin was already going off on the Cowboys for one of his best games. But it's just so regrettable. I mean, that's the kind of distraction that no coach ever wants on the day of a game. And credit the coaches, credit the Cardinals players for having this like wash off their backs, because it could have really disrupted their focus and sidelined it, and it didn't, and leave it. And I think part of that was Jacoby having the prescience to, calm everything down with Marvin and, say, let's look, we're going to get you the ball tonight. You just be you, put on your pads and let's get going. And I think that message to Marvin put him at ease. I think the other thing people underestimate is how difficult that is for Marvin, to hear his dad spouting off. And Marvin, equivocated it quite handsomely, I thought, by saying, like, everybody has their own opinions. And the inference there was that this isn't my opinion, clearly, and I've got to do my job better. And, Marvin handled it beautifully. But this kid doesn't need any more added pressure on him. People need to leave him alone and let him play and let him breathe. And now we're in a passing mode offense that, suits his, his purposes really well. And, he's going to have some tougher covers than what he had last night. You know, in upcoming games. I mean, they're going to key and bracket him again, but that means if that happens, the other receivers are going to get their share and should. And so, that said, it's too bad. I'm glad it came and went, and and this and that, but it was unfortunate. And I'll just add one more thing on a football weekend that was ruined for so many people by ESPN's abject greed. I mean, I had to go, I'll tell you quickly what I had to do. I had to, both my favorite football teams were on ESPN of all weekends. BC against Notre Dame, and then Cardinals Cowboys on Monday night. And I have YouTube TV. You have to get it for me because that's the only channel the NFL will put Sunday Ticket on. So there's no competitive pricing there either. I'm paying like $400 or $380 or something for Sunday Ticket, and the red zone. And this is how the NFL caters to the rich, with ticket prices to go see a game, and now just to watch games, they're trying to make us pay, through the teeth. And then you had to scramble around and find a way. Like you, Kyle, you had to bootleg it off of your laptop. I mean, it's just outrageous. And so what I did was, I have ESPN Plus, and so I immediately Googled in, shouldn't I be able to get the games? No. And I'm paying $129 a year for that service, by the way, to get their articles and stats and next gen stats and all that that they do so well, and get all the inside articles. And that's $129 a year for that service. And I can't watch a game on ESPN because of it. But I mean, I do subscribe to Hulu. I love that channel. I watch Boston Legal episodes on that. If you ever watch that with James Spader and William Shatner, oh my God, it's such an amazing show. And it's funny, and it's also really, really incredibly prophetic. It's the same trials they're doing back then, like 20 years ago, are of the same import and significance as they are today. And so you're almost like, whoa, these writers were prophetic. But anyway, Hulu had the Bear too. I love the Bear. It's a good network, and it's only $11.99 a month. So I was paying that. So what I had to do was cancel the Hulu, and then go back to ESPN and sign up for the Disney, Hulu, ESPN, unlimited
the bundle. Yeah, the bundle.
The bundle. And what happened was, to my benefit, fortunately, and this other people wouldn't have been able to benefit from this because they're not paying $129 a year for ESPN Plus. But ESPN Plus is part of that bundle. And so what they did was they're giving me credit on, the portion of the $129 I hadn't used yet. So I don't even have a bill coming from them on the $29.99 bundle for like 3 months or something. But if UTV gets back, the regular service, I may even cancel that bundle and just go back to Hulu at $11.99 a month. I don't watch Disney Channel. So,
the whole situation was confusing because it was supposed to encourage people to go to get that ESPN bundle, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Or their, ESPN all the time package. So, and on that weekend, to then drop this on a Monday night before the game by ESPN, you know, it's just so classless. And you know, I'm just glad it's over with. And but I don't know if the father's angst towards the Cardinals is over, where he's convinced. I mean, he's probably thinking, well, Marvin doesn't have his Peyton Manning, or a head coach like Tony Dungy, big time, offense coordinators. I don't know if this is a done deal for him, and that concerns me. But for Marvin, couldn't have happened better last night. He got the attention he deserves, and he made the most of it. And we're good. And for Jacoby, just to be, doing his thing. He's now in 3 games averaging 288 yards a game passing. If someone a month ago said this was going to happen, they'd say you're out of your mind. So, and then of course the McBride factor. Let's cue up the McBride, another McBride touchdown. It's 4th in 3 games. I mean, and McBride made a couple mistakes, I thought, where he could have easily caught 2 other TDs. So look at that. Look at Jacoby rip this. Again, right off the break. Now. It's uncoverable. This is what the Rams do. This is why they're so successful. When they throw to Nakua on this route, it's off the break. They used to do that with Cooper Kupp to perfection. It's virtually impossible to guard if you're playing inside leverage. As you have to kind of play inside leverage. Just ask Brand on the Marvin touchdown. I mean, when you can't just let free access, let him cross your face into the middle of the field, right? So you have to sort of shade to the inside. But then if you get the pass coming off the break, it's virtually impossible to catch up to as a defensive back. And, man, clicking on all cylinders in McBride. But, a couple times he gets a little too cute in the end zone, on his routes in the end zone. And that's going to cap now that he's really become a go-to option in the end zone for the Cardinals. He and Jacoby are going to, settle down on this stuff, and I think it can even get better. So I don't know if you recall the play where McBride beat his man to the inside and had separation, but the ball was thrown too far inside. Yep. That was a miscommunication on that play that happened. Now here's Brissett. And hello, the quarterback sneak is back. And look at that. On this play, credit, see Brown there, Evan Brown. Brown does a smart thing. There's not a man head-to-head on him. So he just opens the door and just sort of dive straight ahead. Watch this. And Froholt makes a great block here.
Yeah, 1-2 right here. Right.
Correct.
Jacoby's left, right up the gut.
So Froholt pins the nose tackle to his right. Boom, with a double team with Hernandez. Brown opens the door. And if someone who was charging in that gap, he was going to take him. But if not, he had the presence of mind to get into the end zone and not clog it up. And look at this. This is just a great little humble celebration. We got more work to do. Let's run back. Love it. So Jacoby was involved in all 3 touchdowns. He had the 2 touchdown passes, which he covered. We had the quarterback sneak on a beautifully designed play. And maybe this is the time for me to say this, which is really one of the most uplifting moments of the season is the Cardinals held the Schottenheim Clayton Adams offense, now ranked number 3 in the NFL, to 10 points. And they had their way with the Cowboys. They gave up 5 sacks, and the Cowboys timed those sacks up really well. The one critique of Petzing that I had in this game was he went to the well too often off play action from under center. And he didn't have to, in my opinion, because of the mismatches they had in coverage. I mean, and the Cardinals did generate like 119 yards of rushing, as I thought they would too. And kudos to Bam, or Marty DiMercato had a great game, a redemption game for him. How about the presence of mind to stay in bounds on his long run? He had several 10-plus yard runs. Bam was good. Love Bam, but Bam has feet, boy. And Bam out of the backfield is something to behold in the passing game. And they both were so good. We didn't see much of Michael Carter because we didn't really have to, because they both were playing so well. And Gannon had said during the week that we're going to ride the hot hand, and he had 2 hot hands going. So it was good. But here's the epiphany of this game for me is they outclassed Clayton Adams. They really did. I mean, I was really worried Clayton Adams was going to lead this team to a butt whipping up front. It didn't happen. And the Cardinals were just as much up to the task on their offensive line. And I think that of the 2 offensive lines, the Cardinals won last night. I mean, they got it done. They outgained the Cowboys in this game. And, I mean, look at these. This is so cool. The stats is
yeah. So just real quick, just the big ones here. Sacks for the Cardinals, 5. Tackles for loss, 6. Passes deflected, 6. QB hits, 9. They don't list pressures on here, but I'm guessing there's a ton of pressures on there.
Right. And on the flip side, the Cowboys were getting their fair share.
Yep. 5 sacks, 2.
Right. 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. That was on those blowing up those play action plays. I mean, they were getting some stuff done up front. No doubt about 11 quarterback hits. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. 11 quarterback hits, 2 passes deflected.
Yeah. Go back up. Yeah, 4. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, they've got some players up front, the Cowboys. Donovan Izaraku, I loved coming out of the draft from Boston College. He had a good night.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, to your point about Kenny Clark, I mean, I wouldn't have traded Micah Parsons for him, but Kenny Clark certainly is a very good football player. And he was giving, it's kind of more, I guess, Froholt, but he was giving them fits last night for sure.
Yeah, and Osa, Adegazua, he's a player. He's a baller. I mean, they got some guys up from Shamar James is a stud in the making. And they got some players up front. They're just not in groove yet with Matt Eberflus entirely, but they were the highlight for them. I thought their linebackers played well last night too. But
yeah, I think that it's hard though to conflate that because teams know that they don't have the safeties, they don't have the corners. Their
yeah,
linebackers played better, but I mean, teams know to just you can put it over the top on them. So
right.
you just buy time, give your receivers enough time. It's hard when you have that glaring weakness. And as the Cardinals know, it's hard when you have that glaring weakness in the secondary.
Right, exactly. So, Denzel Burke right up there. ADG, Buddha. Buddha was good. Buddha was all over the field. He's such an ambassador. Mac Wilson was having a really good game. He got twisted around a couple times in coverage. That's still got to be addressed a little bit. He's feast or famine. He's been good in some places, but then kind of lost on others. But I sort of expected that as a transition to Mike. But look at Will Johnson, 6 tackles, 5 solo. JT, solid. Nolan, 4 tackles, 3 solo. 1 tackle for, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. What a stat line for game 1. Garrett got, beat on the touchdown. That's the area of his game in man coverage. He needs to, keep improving. But as a zone corner and as someone around the ball, I thought he made a number of great plays around the ball last night. Max had that great, deep cover on CD that went incomplete. Cody came in and made a huge difference with that strip sack. Calais, look at that 2-2-2-2. Awesome. I mean, wow. And sweaty.
Right next to him, 2-2-2-2.
I mean, oh my God. Let's go to the sweaty play that I put last. I mean, I think Josh Sweat set the tone for the Cardinals early when they needed it most. It looked like that first drive was just going to be soft city. And thank goodness Josh Sweat said, F this. And, this is 4th and goal. And notice how the big boy, Walter Nolan, affects this play. He does a spin move that Dak sees out of the corner of his eye. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Look at that. And that gives Sweaty a direct line to Dak.
Plus, seal the edge. Don't allow him to break out to the right. That's Zaven right there. Great job.
Right. And look at these hat-on-hat coverages. If you go back a couple frames, look at hat-on-hat.
Ferguson gets open back here, but by that point, Dak's got no shot.
By that point, Dak's going down, fortunately. I think Garrett was also worried that Dak was going to escape. And that always puts a defender in no man's land.
There you go.
Look at the coverage here. Look at the coverage on Lamb.
Mac Wilson, big time.
The only thing I don't like is on deep coverages in the red zone, they play the safeties like 2/3 of the way back in the end zone. It's too deep. You got to bring them up closer.
You got
different teams that throw underneath the lines, underneath the goal line. Now, if a man comes in their area and they want to pick it up, and they're going to be a deep cover there towards the post or towards the back pylon, then yes, you have to have that depth. But early on, you should really be closer. But anyway, it all worked out there. That was early. That was the best play for the Cardinals in the first half defensively, and Walter Nolan's sack to break the ice in the second and the fourth quarter. Those two, I think, were the biggest plays of the game for the Cardinals, because slowing down this vaunted Cowboys offense was of utmost importance, and they got it done.
Yeah, I know it's not in there too, but also the Mac Wilson strip on Ferguson too was a
Oh
big
yeah.
moment.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
Mac
huge.
had a great game in coverage.
Yeah, and a good ball recovery by Buda Baker. First time since like his rookie year he's recovered a fumble. That's because he's usually the one causing the fumble. So and Buda pounced on it. He got the fumble recovery with Rabbit right there. Oh, the array of talent, as we're titling this show, was in full view before 18 million viewers last night. Jacoby Brissett, you know, the way he's outpassed three of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in these weeks. I wonder how he can do against Sam Darnold. And in a way, I started thinking last night, with Brissett, we have the Sam Darnold type quarterback now. And it's interesting that came up because last year I was, when the Cardinals were showing interest in Daniel Jones, I got that part of it as why you want a bigger, stronger guy in that offense for the play action and for the pocket passing. I'm talking about Jacoby's ladder. It's climbing the ladder of a pocket that we don't typically do. With Kyler, it's not really a pocket, and now it is. And Sam Darnold is the guy who hangs in there and boom, delivers starts. And he's turned his career around, done a whole 180 because he does the things he does from the pocket very well. And he's got a toughness to him. And that's Jacoby. Jacoby's a little older, but he's not a heck of a lot different. I mean, he throws the ball with on a rope the way that Darnold certainly does. But if you watch the Seahawks this weekend, I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba is all world now. I mean, he is a force of nature.
I think, is he leading the NFL in yards right now? I want to say I think he is.
And then Torrey Horton. God, I wanted that kid because he was from Colorado State, like Trey McBride. And I thought he was a sleeper the whole time. And,
wow, Jackson Smith-Njigba's got 100 yards more than the next closest receiver.
Yeah. I mean, the dude is on fire. And Darnold is just dialing up with him the way he was with Jefferson. It's his new Jefferson now in Seattle. And then Torrey Horton. I mean, the one player who gave Will Johnson the most difficulty in coverage was Torrey Horton, believe it or not. When Colorado State played Michigan, Horton torched him for 2 TDs. And you can see why. Horton's just really, I mean, the rich get richer. I mean, they move on from Lockett, and now they get a guy like Horton who is faster, much more, difficult to guard because of, his size. He's got better size. He is, he is a major talent, and for a 5th round, they hit gold with him. And then the kid Arroyo, who torched us up the sideline with Josh Sweat in coverage. I hope they don't do that again. Arroyo is a pass-catching weapon. They have their array of weapons, and now so do we. And we're going to square off, and, it's a huge game for the Cardinals. Because if they can get this monkey off their back, the Seattle stigma, that I think in part the Cardinals have put on themselves. I don't want to get into that, but we have lost 8 in a row to them or whatever, 9, and it's time to pay them back.
Well, it's now or never, because after this, the Seahawks are on their way to the playoffs, and as we've talked about, the Cardinals could be headed for another coaching change.
True. And the thing about the Seahawks is what's weird about them is they're actually better on the road, or have been, than at home. I mean, McDonald's come in and he's won, like, what is this, 8 or 9 games on the road in a row?
Yep. I believe it's the most in the league right now.
I mean, McDonald is a seriously great coach. I mean, he's doing such a great job. The mentality in which they play with on both sides of the ball. That's what I was hoping for if we hired a defensive coach. This has taken a long time for the Cardinals to get in this position. But kudos to the Cardinals coaches now for going with Brissett in this game when, there was such an appeal to put Kyler back in against Dallas. And, I don't know what the whole deal is with Kyler's foot, but if it was really a Liz Frank, he wouldn't be out there running around in practice. You wouldn't want to risk that. You wouldn't want to put any weight on it. You probably want him in a boot for a couple, you probably would have put him on the IR and put him in a boot for 3 weeks and tried to bring it back that way. So it's this mystery foot. I knew all along when Gannon was saying, like, we're considering a role for Kyler. I said, there's no way Kyler's going to accept a backup role. There's no way. And so they've got to do something with Kyler. And after the game, Gannon tripled down and said, oh, no, nothing's changed. When Kyler's ready, he's back. To which I tweeted, Gannon is, quote, practiced in the art of deception, from the You're So Vain song by Carly Simon. And the problem with Gannon is he's not any good at it. You can see right through it. And it's just a mind game, and and the guy who takes the most pleasure out of it, I'm sure, is Bidwill, because that's what he does. That's what he thinks he's a special ops agent, a covert, guy in a trench coat and a floppy hat, undercover. I mean, it's just, it's a circus all week. I mean, the way that Gannon handled the Ojulari. I mean, I don't know why you can't be transparent about something like that. I mean, everyone's going, where is Ojulari? What does he even, is he still on the team? And finally, it took Ojulari to tell us that not only had major reconstruction damage on ligaments and other things. So no wonder this is taking longer. He also had to tell us he's been in the facility every day working his tail off. And now his window's open and he looked good running around in the practices. But why Gannon just can't tell the truth? To what advantage is it not telling the truth? Some secret teams can be like, oh, Ojulari is, taking notes on this. I mean, the fans deserve to know. There should be more of a transparency about simple things. And this Kyler situation now, I mean, how in the world could you take Jacoby Brissett away from this offense right now? I mean, it would be, there's no rhyme or reason to do it. But now you got the issue of, you're just going to have this be a lingering so-called foot injury for weeks on end, where they're not even putting him on the IR. And that, will Kyler be able to suck it up? And, he's a team captain. Can he, be a backup? Because, I mean, I don't know what they have in Slovis. And I don't know how many reps he's had. That's why I wanted to keep, Clayton Tune, At least he knows the offense. I mean, so you have Slovis there as a backup. You know, if something happened to Jacoby, wouldn't you want Kyler over Slovis? I mean, with his
I mean,
knowledge.
yeah, no, even the most strident Kyler Murray, I won't say haters, people who disapprove of Kyler would still say I'd rather have him come in over Keaton Slovis down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I'm curious to see Slovis because I kind of liked him at UFC, and then he had sort of up and down career after that once he started bouncing around. But you know, he's got some, you know, intangibles, and he's a streaky player. But I don't, you know, given a choice, yeah, you'd want Kyler Murray. But does Kyler have the sort of humility, the humbleness to accept this? And Kyler has been protected his whole 7 years by Cardinals front office. And, you know, now they've got a major situation on their hands. There's no quarterback controversy. None. They're right in a hot hand who's galvanizing not only offense, but he's galvanizing the team. And, you know, he's potentially saving this coaching staff's jobs in the process. Because think of it now. I mean, Jacoby's under contract for next year. I mean, the way he's playing and the confidence he's building with his own guys who are going to be back. Plus, you know, that gives you an opportunity to draft a quarterback or trade for a young one that you can groom, that Jacoby can help groom. Yeah, well, that's pretty exciting. And to think if this is true, you know, we have our version of Sam Darnold in this offense already in Jacoby Brissett. You know, that's really exciting. And I knew last year when Darnold was on the free agent market, I was like, too bad we can't. I thought he was perfect for this offense. And I even said so. I wrote it in articles back then. I thought he would be absolutely perfect. And if we're going to move on from Kyler, I was hoping they could have traded him last year and brought in Darnold. Because what we're seeing now is why you need a quarterback with size and physical presence and the, you know, mettle to step up, METTLE, step up in the middle of that pocket and deliver darts. And, you know, what's so great too right now is like even third and longs feel like it's possible. I mean, and it has been. I mean, Jacoby, how about that like 2nd and 20, he drilled to McBride for like 20 yards. Right?
That
Another
pretty much sealed the deal, yeah.
I mean, you know, this is so exciting for the team and for fans. It should be for fans. I know that, you know, for Kyler fans, this is a hard reality. But if you want to put the team first and be excited for the team, you know, you got to give your props and to what the Cardinals are doing and what Jacoby's accomplishing. And it's like I said, who would ever believed he'd outpass Daniel Jones, who's one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league right now, although he's hit a bit of a wall recently. But I don't think he's not going to bounce back from. And then you outpassed Jordan Love, who then went off in the next game. I mean, like 20, what was it, 26 completions in a row? I mean, it was stunning. And then last night to outpass Dak. Let's go to those stats again. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at their quarterback ratings. This is Dak at home, where they're averaging 40 points a game, where they dropped 40 on the Packers defense. And it's just so great. I mean, let's not take this for granted. This is so good by the Cardinals defense. I mean, okay, read Jacoby's line and then read Dak's.
All right, Jacoby Brissett. Here, let me zoom in so people can see a little bit. Jacoby Brissett, 21 for 31, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of 115.1. QBR 53.5, which is very good on the QBR grade.
What took that all down were the 5 sacks. Otherwise, that would be significantly higher.
Yes. Dak Prescott, 24 for 39, 250 yards, average of 6.4 yards per completion, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, QBR of 36.5, and a passer rating of 77.9, which for reference, 91 is about league average.
And once again, the Cardinals had over 50% of third down conversions. Let's go there into the team stats. First downs, Cardinals win.
Nationwide is so much more.
23
Isn't
to
it time
22.
we work too?
Third down efficiency, 7 for 13 to 5 out of 12. That's awesome, guys. I mean, our Jacoby was 57%, which would have been number 1 in the league if he qualified with enough snaps to make that qualify, which now he's gaining more snaps to be able to qualify. And this is over 50% too. It's probably 56% in his 3 games. That is huge. Kyler's was 39%. Huge difference.
If you're just looking at the raw numbers, they don't look that different, right? Both teams had about the same time of possession. Right. Both teams had the same number of yards.
No, the Cardinals had way more.
Yeah, the Cardinals won time of possession, but it was relatively close.
33?
33 to 26.
Yeah.
Or 30 to 27, basically, you know. But anyways, same number of plays, relatively number of yards. And I think the big difference there is stops on fourth down, sacks, and turnovers are the big reason why you win that game.
You stopped them 0-3 on fourth downs in their own stadium where they're scoring 40 points a game. That's dang good stuff. So it's great to have, Garrett Williams back. It was great to have Walter Nolan. The rookies came alive down the stretch for the Cardinals in front of 18 million viewers. These are, primetime kids. I mean, Walter Nolan at Ole Miss last year, he got his fair share of primetime. Will Johnson's born to play in primetime. Cody Simon was MVP of the Rose Bowl, MVP of the national championship game, defensive MVP. How about that for stepping up in the brightest of lights? Did it last night. I thought Jordan Birch played some really meaningful snaps for the Cardinals last night, and he's one to watch. And Denzel Burke. I mean, look at him. What a night for him. I mean, and what a night for the Cardinals. So this is really exciting. Now, I want to ask Kyle, if you're the Cardinals and you now have you're almost 5 hours away to the trading deadline, 4 p.m. Eastern time, what do you do now? You've won this game. Are you a buyer? Are you still considering selling? Play the GM.
I think you're as good as the offers in front of you, right? So I saw I have to look up the trade again. Someone got traded for a conditional 5th round pick. And I was like, wow, I can't believe that guy got moved in a deal like that. Well, if you have, the Ravens traded a conditional 5th for the edge rusher Jones from the Titans.
Yeah.
And I thought if Logan Wilson is going for a 7th and the edge rusher who got traded to the Niners is going for pick swaps. A 5th round pick seems a bit rich for Jones, who has had a good season, but I don't think of as this impact acquisition at the deadline. So if someone's willing to offer you a 5th round pick for one of your backup defensive tackles or backup edge rushers, I don't think you say no, but I think the Cardinals should look to add potentially, I'd say, longer term options. So like someone you'd be okay signing to an extension if you're trading for them on an expiring contract. But I think they're kind of in the buy and sell mode. I think you could go either direction based on what offers you have available to you. I still think they should call up the Bills and offer a defensive tackle or an edge rusher to them. Buffalo seems in dire need of some sort of run stopping and pass rushing. But I still think if you're the Cardinals and someone is, and you're making calls, you should try and trade for an offensive lineman. You should try and potentially trade for some help on the interior. If the offer's available, I don't think you say no to it at this point.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I look down the excuse me. I look down the roster. I don't know what's going to happen with Kyler. I don't know if he'll accept a backup role. I don't know if that will trigger in him a desire to get released and maybe have a buyout figure in mind so he can go to a team of his liking. I don't know what this is going to mean, for him. Kyler's, I don't think how he could possibly, unless he's kind of changed his stripes, how he can handle this humbly and feel like, he just wants to be a part of the team in whatever way he can. I think that he's got, a fair share of pride that won't let him do that. I can't imagine his dad being too happy either, and I can understand that a little bit. Although we haven't heard from his dad yet. And to Kyler's, to the context of the situation is this offense was never going to be the right fit for Kyler Murray. And I said it you remember this, Kyle. I said it from the day that they hired Petzing. It just was like round peg in a square hole. I mean, it just didn't make sense.
Especially when they then constructed the roster in such a way that didn't play into what Petzing was doing right. And it always came back around to what actually is the identity we're going for here.
Well, they were, that whole third round in 24 was a Petzing city, appease Petzing, get him his backup running back, stud running back, get him his starting right guard or left guard, and get him his blocking tight end. And, that all fits into his 12 and 13 personnels. But suddenly, with Jacoby and, the rise in this passing attack, I think you're going to see the Cardinals make a really strong move to add a dynamic receiver this offseason. I'm wondering right now if they have their eye on someone in a trade that could really come in and give us some juice. Because, that's an area now that the passing game is really taking off. Maybe now you entertain bringing in a wide receiver who could help.
Let me ask you this. Oh.
Just I'll finish. Go ahead.
No, go for it. We'll talk.
I'm just going to mention Adonai Mitchell, for example, in the Colts. Mm-hmm. I mean, he and Amari can bond on the oh shit, what did I just do moment. But Adonai Mitchell is a really good prospect. He's got speed, he's got size. And the Colts aren't playing him. I don't think he's even been active all that much since he made the mistake. Maybe he's bringing him in might be a really interesting ploy, because you're also, what is he in his second year? You can get a guy like that who, now you've addressed the position talent-wise already for next year. And, that's a move that suddenly now makes sense. If we're just stuck in the 12 and 13 personnel, it doesn't as much, but now it does. Now everything's wide open in this offense. The passing game, the running game is more complementary now, and I like that. I think it's good. At running back right now, I like Bam and Amari and Michael. I don't think we need. I love Breece Hall, but the price tag on him is going to be a third rounder, and I'm not sure, because of his expiring contract, that's something. And you're already paying Connor, and you already drafted Benson, and you've got Amari on the roster for next year, and you have Bam on the roster. He's a restricted free agent, or an equal rights free agent. So we got them all coming back. Backup quarterback sort of intrigues me a little bit too. They brought in a bunch of quarterbacks: Jeff Driscoll, Morehouse, the former quarterback back up at Tennessee. They brought in some quarterbacks to look at, just to have in the bullpen. So something is, I think, kind of cooking there. We'll see what happens with that, but I'm not sure what their feeling is about Slovis. Whether they've seen enough of him to think that, and he's picked up in the offense well enough to think that we kind of like him, so we're okay. But if they're kind of wondering now, I'm not sure about that. Driscoll's been in their system before, so it would be a seamless transition for him to bring him back. And he kind of fits the mold a little bit, because he's got the size, and also he's pretty mobile. So I don't know, but maybe some move happens there. I'm kind of dreaming about a right tackle. And if there's a guy out there that just you can get for a fourth round pick, it's pretty clear right now, both Jonah Williams and, for the first time in a while, Kelvin Beachum are just look a little bit over their heads right now. They just don't look athletic enough to defend on the edge in pass pro. They're both fine in run blocking. They're doing well there, but they're not, neither one of them looks the part anymore. And it makes you concerned if that's a position you can batten down and get somebody who's an upgrade. Imagine how the offense could be even better, because they got to stop this, the sacks. The last 2 weeks, it's been 10 sacks. Last two games. That's got to stop. And, so I think right tackle would be something to look at. It looks like Will Hernandez is settling in nicely now at right guard. Evan Brown's been solid. Not everybody on the line can be a superstar. So that would be a move I think I would consider. I think we've got enough depth pieces up front. It's interesting. It's curious. I saw Gannon chatting with Dalvin Tomlinson on the sideline last night, and I wanted to know what Gannon was saying to him. And Dalvin Tomlinson standing there just going,
yeah, that's the one that you can kind of.
I know he's your guy. He's your guy you think that could have trade value for you, and he might. But and with PJ Mustipher, playing pretty solid at the nose, and now you have Walter Nolan back, and Bilal Nichols is still kicking around. So there's some depth there you could play with. for whatever reason, Dalvin Tomlinson's been just okay.
Well, he hasn't seen the field as much as I think we thought he was going to. I think that's been part of it too.
Yeah. He's not showing up on the box score like you would hope. But he's made some play. I mean, he's still, maybe he starts now to take off. So I'm not averse to keeping him and getting him motivated because we could need him down the stretch. So, but if there is a trade where you could trade him for a tackle, offensive tackle, I'd consider it.
I honestly, I mean, the Colts needed some help on the defensive interior. So if you want your Adonai Mitchell potential swap, then maybe that's the solution there. You don't even have to give up the draft capital.
Sure.
You swap a need for a need.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right tackle one is interesting because I would, I guess, advocate for them just drafting one next year, whether it's a first, a second.
Yeah, they're going to do that anyway. But we still have 9 games left, and if we're going to make a push, right? I mean, if you get a guy now, unless you get a guy now that you can translate into the future,
I think my point was just more so if you're going to trade a 4th or a 5th for a tackle that another team has decided we don't need anymore, unless it's from a real true selling team. Like if they're like the Dolphins having a fire sale, like if you go get Eichenberg or something.
I mean, someone who wants to accumulate draft picks and is willing to give up a good player to do it.
I find it hard because most of the time it's rentals. It would be different if it's a longer term solution, but giving up a 4th or a 5th when you can use said draft pick to pick the next, your person for the next 4 years, hopefully, it's tough. But I do think they need the right tackle upgrade if they're gonna compete in the NFC West. They're certainly gonna need that upgrade going up against the likes of the Seahawks and the Rams and Jared Verse rushing off the edge.
Do we actually already have the guy in Christian Jones they drafted in the 5th round from Texas a year ago, in 24? I mean, he's on the IR, lost for the season, but he's a natural right tackle. Then you got Josh Fryer, who the Ohio State right tackle, who I think has really good potential. So there's some curious, behind the scenes depth there that's interesting. I would put it that way. And I don't know what both. Maybe Fryer's a swing tackle from now on, and they've been trying to get that out of Christian Jones. They've been playing him a lot at left tackle in preseason, so they're trying to groom him to be a swing player. But maybe one of those guys could contend. But I think next year you're going to see a day 2 pick on a right tackle. It would be my guess. And so we're not trading away day 2 picks. But if there's a guy out there, a younger guy or someone under contract on a reasonable contract who's a good right tackle now, I'd take that bird in the hand. And, dress probably the biggest area of weakness on your offensive line. So as far as corners go, I wouldn't add another corner to that group. We're still not even activating Elijah Jones, who I'm going to tell you, once he gets his feet wet, people are going to say, why hasn't he been out there? And good for Denzel Burke. We got the young guys back there playing pretty well. At safety, we've got the depth. Keaton Crawford's coming back from an ankle. He's really good.
So it's funny that you brought this up because I think this is the classic example of the you can buy and sell, right? You want to make upgrades, but if someone calls on Jalen Thompson and Jalen Thompson isn't going to re-sign,
correct,
maybe that's an option if someone's willing to offer you whatever the compensatory pick package would have been if Thompson leaves in free agency.
Correct. And Jalen, I think they would, run it by Jalen too, whether that's something that he would favor. Particularly the chance to catch on with a new team that might give him the next contract. It might be a good business decision for him. That's interesting. But there are a bunch of safeties out there dangling in the wind, like Micah Fitzpatrick. I know the Dolphins are dangling him out there. There's a few of them there that I think could draw interest. But yeah, I agree with you. If you can get something now, maybe because you do have the depth, you got Rabbit behind him, and you have
Tim Crawford, like you said. Yep.
You have Buddha, and
hopefully, isn't he done for the season? Joey Blunt could come back.
He is
next year.
He was playing really well in preseason too, at free safety. So and he's an athlete. He's really good. So yeah, I mean next year he should be back, special teams captain as well. So it'll be interesting few hours to see if anything happens. It's now 5 hours to the deadline, and just feels so good to have a victory Tuesday in November.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often. Let me see if I can find this incredible stat again. But it was about the Cardinals playing against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I'll see if I can find it. But basically, the only victory Mondays seem to come against the Cowboys whenever they play on Monday Night Football.
They've won 8 of the last 9 games, Cardinals, over the Cowboys. It's uncanny. Yep. It's just uncanny. And
yeah, this is from our friend RJ Ochoa reposting it. But the Cardinals have played 14 games on Monday Night Football. They have lost 10 of them. They have won 4 of them. All 4 wins have come against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh man, you can't make that shit up.
I mean, it seems impossible. The only Monday Night Football wins the Cardinals have are against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh gosh, that's great. Well, let's keep that string going, and let's break this string of Seahawks losses. Boy, would that be huge for the Cardinals. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a dogfight up there. And Battle of Birds. So, Kyle, closing thought from you?
Well, good that they got the win. I know it's still looking like a long shot going forward here. I am curious because you mentioned the wide receiver thing, and I'm interested. Would you rather, if you're going to make, I assume the upgrade from Dortch or Zay Jones, would be the one that you're making the upgrade from.
Sure.
Would you rather go for younger, or would you, because there's plenty of receiving options out there, whether it's Jacoby Myers or Jawan Jennings, who's kind of on the outs in San Francisco.
Right.
Would you rather go the younger route if you're trying to make an upgrade, or just get one of those proven commodities who you would then have to re-sign theoretically to a larger contract?
Yeah, Jacoby Myers could make sense because of his connection with Jacoby Brissett. They have a built-in chemistry already. So, and you'd have to consider, is that going to be an upgrade from Zay Jones? I believe it is. But Zay Jones has suddenly been reborn in Arizona. Didn't get much action last night. But I hear his dad is calling in today. His dad's really pissed. Zay Jones is dad. So we're gonna get some update on that. But yeah, Jacoby Myers would make sense to me. Is he a UFA next year, 2026?
I believe so. I think that's kind of why he had been pushing for a
Yeah.
new contract.
Yeah, that's why I'm not, I would prefer a younger guy that's got multiple years, so.
Yeah. He's 28. That's kind of the tough situation there.
Oh, Myers is only 28?
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is 28.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah.
What's his
It
cap?
feels like he's been around for a while.
What's his cap number this year?
So he's got 14.9, which obviously a good chunk of it's been paid down already.
Right.
But 14.9 this year, and then UFA.
What's the base salary?
Base salary is 10.5.
Oh, then no.
A little too rich. Yeah.
Well, you still have to pay $5 million this year on that.
Yep, you would.
I mean, and I don't know what his stats are this year. I think they're not that great.
No, they're not. They're not great, but you could also have the Raiders pay down some of it. That's, we'll see what ends up happening.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. You would get obviously more draft compensation going back if you pay down the salary a bit, but
yeah, again,
it's I like I said earlier, I think a lot of this is going to be, do they have the right deal kind of situation? And this has a chance to age incredibly poorly since we're recording it like 4 hours before the deadline. But I imagine this is going to be a pretty quiet deadline across the league. For the most part.
Too. I think, I'm getting that feeling. And I have to say, I'm still wondering whether, Monty is not, other GMs don't want to really deal with him based on what happened with the Texans trade. I know, there was a breach of NFL decorum, and by a rookie GM, kind of desperate at that point to save his face after the cheating, the tampering sanctions delivered on the Cardinals on the day of the draft. And it was unfortunate, but I think that, we've seen he's not been able to find a trading partner in the last 2 years in efforts to move up. Now, that could be circumstantial or whatever, but, I know that he's tried to move up. We have had that on tape, and he's not been able to. He has been able to make second round deals where he trades out of a premier spot where like a Cooper DeJean is sitting there. But that's most teams will take that no matter who the GM is. But I just don't know at this point whether teams want to deal with Monty. Thinking that there's going to be a video that comes out how Monty fleeced them. And it was so brilliant. I don't know. It goes around, comes around the NFL like that. But value always talks. People throwing around third round picks, like the Eagles just did.
Yeah, to get Jalen Phillips.
Exactly. See, that's kind of, you don't really want to deal with the Eagles either. But when they flash a third rounder, and this is a player you're probably going to move off of anyway, get her done. And they did.
Yeah. The Dolphins seem to be the only real sellers. I mean, you could probably get something from the Saints. Well, the Titans traded all their people already. So the Titans did all their selling early, but other than the Titans and the Dolphins, there's not a ton of sellers going on right now. So we'll see. I imagine it's going to be a quiet deadline, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals didn't make any move. But I do think they're kind of in the buy sell purgatory right now, where you're not saying no if someone's calling and making an offer, but you're also calling other teams and seeing if you can get an acquisition at a like you said, a right tackle, a receiver, maybe somewhere on the defense. You're at least just making the calls to see what happens. So we'll see how it goes. And then either way, they've got a battle against the first place 1-6 of 7 Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see how it all goes next week.
Maybe the hottest team in the NFL right now. So, but
it's gonna be right up there. I mean, if Mike doesn't win Coach of the Year, I think it's going to be either Mike McDonald or Shane Steichen, I would guess, wins Coach of the Year. But if it's not Mike, then John Schneider in Seattle should get some sort of recognition or award this year, because the way they moved on from the old guard and seamlessly transitioned into the new guard is remarkable.
That's a team that makes adjustments on the fly, and real good ones, and they know how to draft. The kid Zabel, the left guard, is a stud already.
Player development is the name of the game. Everyone has talent. It's just, what can you do with that talent?
And that'll be quite the matchup to see Zabel against Nolan. Big Walter being, against Big Gray. That's going to be pretty interesting to see. Nolan was up against Smith, who's one of the better guards and the strongest guards in the NFL. And he handled Smith. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with Zabel. But he's been a huge addition, and, kudos to them. And, but it's time that the Cardinals, this is so important to get that stigma off their backs, and to do it up there would be awesome. So all eyes on that. And the interim, as it did last night, may the red rain shower down on you, Red Sea, into the Red Sea. Red rain.